the our course. So we'll stop here. Any question here? I will stop this one. So today's session is all about exceptional handling. So any questions for previous sessions? Any guys, any questions in the previous sessions? Okay. So let us start with what is the exceptional handling first thing. So now, for example, if you write a program, so for I in something a list. So in a list actually, like or something that like in a list of something. So you will iterate that and you will be printing I. So what is that actually you are trying to do? You are trying to print. So let me open another one thing. So I'm trying to show you simple list iteration. So for example, how you will be doing iterating a list? What is meant by list iteration? So you will be looping over the list and printing the value of a list. So how should I do? For example, I'm trying to create a list of names. So let me give some names. Give some names. Some names.
Amrita.
Give some more names.
Vaishnavi.
Spelling right. Correct. Correct.
Yes, sir.
What is the next one?
Bhavna.
Which one?
Bhavna.
Na?
Bhavna.
Bhavana. Okay. So one more.
Bhagya.
Okay. Now, how many elements are there? How to check actually? Length of LST. Correct. Type of the things. What is the type of this list? So I'll be checking with LST. If I have to print the elements, then I should be doing print. This is the basic things about list. And which address it is stored, I will be looking into ID of this list. So this is things we will be trying to do, correct? Basic things. Now, if I have to iterate over this list, what I should be doing? For I in LST, and then I'll be printing the I one by one element I'm trying to print. So one by one element I'm trying to print. Now, if I want to access some element, how should we accessing? List. So I'm trying to say one. So I'm trying to do. So now if I trying to access, now since I know how many elements are there that I'm trying to do. So if I have to access something, so how many elements are there? Total 6. So if I give 6, what will happen? What will print? LST 6. If I give, what it will print?
Names.
It will print. It will print names. So if I say 0, what it will print?
Empty. And that is Satish.
So if I give 6, actually what it will print?
Bhagya.
Is a Bhagya 6?
No, sir. No, nothing will be printed because last is 5.
So now what happens actually? It will give an error. That is index error. So what happens actually? My system got crashed actually. See, this is what is happening. So what is the reason? See now, since we know here, we know that number 6 is the last one. But if I don't know that like what is the length of the list actually, and suddenly if you write a program and if you try to access beyond that index in the array, what will happen? It will give an error. and it will crash. And after that, like if you say anything before, it won't print actually. Print hello. So it won't print because it would have crashed at the before statement only. So because that next statement is not executed, it has crashed here. So that is the reason we come up with a concept called exception handling. So this is called exception. So it generated an exception. What is that exception? Index is out of the bound. It is index is beyond what you are trying to access is outside the index, allowed index for that list. So that is called exception. So how to handle this exception is, that is what we are trying to study. I hope understood what is the exception and what we are trying to learn. Any question here?
No, sir.
And this exception is, these exceptions are called runtime errors. If you have studied earlier, attended the earlier class, we said syntax error, semantic error, runtime error, all those things, logical error we discussed, correct?
Yes, sir.
So this runtime error exceptions are runtime errors. While executing, we get an error. So there is no compilation error. See, compilation error means like something if you are trying to write wrongly. So this is a compilation error. If I do something something like unnecessary thing. So for example, if I use something like this is I'm trying to do something like this actually. So if it is able to understand that, it will understand. If it doesn't able to understand, it will give an error. So that error is, see, this is a some kind of error. But like when we do a runtime error, those kind of things are called when we generate an exception, those things are called runtime error, and that is what we are discussing how to handle. So this is a syntax error. So if you see actually amount is equal to 10,000, and if I'm trying to do, if amount is this much and I'm trying to do, what is the issue here actually? If I have to modify this program, how should I modify program so that like I should not get an error? What all things I should be changing? What is this program? This program is comparing his amount is greater than 2,900. If it is there, then I'm saying that like you are eligible to purchase some program actually. Data science, the data structure and algorithm video sessions actually. This one. More than, if you are 3,000 is a cost, if you have more than 3,000, then you can purchase this course. So, but this is giving syntax error. How should I modify this so that like I should not have a syntax error? What all things we should be doing? Anyone can answer?
In print the code, colon is missing.
Here colon has to be there. Then
No, sir. Downside. You are eligible to purchase.
here indentation has to be there. So these two things has to be there, then it will run. Correct? So this colon is missing and this indentation is missing. So this is called syntax error. Fine? Is that understood? So syntax error, invalid syntax. It is not able to understand. So if you give the colon, this portion is this portion issues are resolved, but I'm getting here. So what is the error actually? If you try here, it is giving some other error. So what is error actually? Indentation error. So indentation error. So what I will be doing, I will be giving one tab here. So I am be solving this. This is called syntax error. So syntax error means like if you don't know how to write if statement, if you don't know how to write a normal statement, for loop, all those things, if you don't understand that, then you will get a syntax error. If you are comfortable with if logics, how to write for logic and all those things, then you won't get a syntax error. Fine? Is it clear? What is syntax error?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, what is the exception? So this is the exception. There is no syntax issues. So mark is equal to that. This is also fine. This is also equation is also fine. Divided by this print is also fine. Everything is fine. But this will what happens actually? Why I am trying to say exception error? No. If I print here, it will print actually. So if I print something here, it will print here. So it will print this actually. It will print and execute. But what happens actually while executing this, you got something like a 0 divided by 0. So what is this error actually? Any number, if you divide by 0, what happens? Number 10, if you divide by 0, what will happen?
0.
Any number, if you divide by 0, what will happen? Value is infinity, correct?
Yes, sir.
Infinity means like invalid number. Very, very high number,
0.
which cannot be stored in computers. So computers will give such kind of things are called division by 0 errors are called, it will raise an exception saying that you are doing not right thing, you are doing wrong thing. You are trying to divide a number with a 0, so you cannot divide the number with 0. If I assume that like if I'm trying to divide 10 by a, is it possible? What is a? A is alphabet. What is 10? Can I divide this?
No, sir.
So these kind of things, like so wherever you are trying to do something wrong thing, syntaxically correct. So syntaxically correct means like if I say A is equal to B divided by C, and B is 10 and C is A. So if I allocate B is 10 and C is A, in quotes actually this is a character. And if I do so syntax, this statement is correct because syntaxically variable equal to number. So this also is correct statement. This statement also syntaxically there is no error. But when you are trying to run, so 10 by A is not possible. So this is called, it will raise an exception saying that this kind of things are not supported. Then number divided by 0, all those things. Each one will give a different exceptions. So one will give saying that like this is 0 division error. So this is not possible. So this is called exception. So understood the difference between syntax and exception?
Yes, sir. Understood.
Okay. Now how to handle this? The next question is actually, okay, how to handle this? So if you are not able to handle, then whole program will get crashed actually. Nothing will happen. After that also won't print. So nothing will be there. After that, like everything will be stayed stagnant here. So how should I handle it actually? So there is a method called, so they have something called concept called try and accept. So there is a 2 keywords are there. What is those 2 keywords? One keyword is called try. What is meant by try? At least try something, correct? So try is like something that try it. So try, and another is accept. Accept is actually when some exception is trying to happen. So I am trying to handle that. So first is actually like, what is this means actually? See, whatever you are trying to execute, so you are trying to execute, correct? So trying to execute, you will be putting here what you are trying to execute. If there is an exception, it will go to something like a except. There is a except is there in the colon. So it will go here, say that like, okay, I will handle here. It's like first I'm trying here. If something got bad, then I'm going to handle here. So because of that reason, there's some come up something like a try and accept. So try, after that there is a colon, except after that colon. So what I'm trying to do, so like take this case, A is equal to 5, B is equal to 0. This is not a number 0. This is string, it's a character, correct? In quotes means it is a character, correct? So there is a difference between this and this. So what is the difference between this and this? B is equal to 0 and C is equal to this 0. So what is the difference? This is integer, this is string.
Strings.
So that is what. So now what I'm trying to do, A divided by string. So A is a number, B is a string. So this is obviously is not possible, correct? So now if it is not possible, then it will generate an exception it will generate. So then what happens, since if it generates an exception, so it will go to the except portion and you say that like print some error has occurred, something has occurred, correct? Now I'm trying to, after coming out of this actually, I'm trying to print this one. What happens actually here, when exception happens, after that I'm not able to print the next line, correct? So it is crashing, correct? So I'm not able to print this A. anything, even if I put hello also, I won't be able to print this hello. Are you able to understand this? So after this exception happens, nothing exists like so. So I'm not able to print this. But here, since here exception happens, if I handle here, and I should be able to print next line. Correct. So that is what I'm trying to handle the exception using try and catch. So what happens? So here it will generate an error. So now it will go here and say that some error has happened. Now I'm also able to print the next statement. So now I am able to handle the exception properly. Is it clear? Am I able to handle exception here? Here not possible to handle, correct?
Yes, sir.
So this is how I should be handling exception in Python. So wherever, like if you see that like in the code, some issue may happen. So now what I will be doing, I will be writing that code inside the try, and what kind of exception happens, I should be handling that into after except. So except colon. So this is syntax of the try and catch thing, try and except thing. And this is called exceptional handling in Python programming. Is fine? Understood? This is a basic concept. So we'll go a little bit deeper and deeper and deeper. So now what we understood, Python has a many built-in exception raised programs encountered error. So if not handled, program will crash. That we understood. How should we handle? So there is a try statement. So we understood what is the try statement. Everything if you are writing inside this try, no, with the colon, this is called try statements. Everything are try statements. Like so, whichever the code you wanted to write inside the try is called try statements. So this is a try statement, and there is a except statements. So that is except statements. Like here, I am trying to handle the exceptions. So this is not belongs to try and except. This is outside the try and except. This is outside that actually. Only this is the try block. This is the except block. This is outside that. So to handle the exception, we should be using try and except. Is it understood?
Yes, sir, understood.
Okay. Next thing is actually like here, I'm not able to see that like which exception I have handled. I said some error has occurred, but I wanted to know what is that error. Correct? I need to know that now. So how should I do? There is one more method is called execute information. So there is something called a execute underscore information function. I will be using that. How should I use? So first I should be importing the system file. So what is the system file? So system file is actually somebody has written a library. I'm importing that library. How should I import a library? Import sys. Whatever the library you are importing, import that library name. So here, which library I'm importing? Sys. Sys means system files. System files means like some basic system functions actually. Somebody has built. So error handling, getting error information is also system function. Somebody has written it actually. So now this is fine. Now what I'm trying to do, I have created a list. You already know how to create a list. So I have created a list. In that list, there is a letter is there. There is a number is there. There is 2, 3. These are things are there. Now what I'm trying to do, I am trying to iterate this list. So how should I iterate? For entry in the list. So I iterated. Now I am trying to do some operation on that. So what I should be doing, I should be writing in the try thing because it may raise some exceptions. So what is that I'm trying to do? So first I'm entering into this. This is a statement I'm trying to say. I'm trying to do R. R is equal to 1 divided by int by entry. So whatever this entry is there, that value I am dividing. 1 divided by that entry. So fine. So means like if for example, if entry is equal to A, then I will be doing 1 by A. If entry is equal to 0, I will be doing 1 by 0. So this will raise an issue. This will raise an issue. If entry is 2, 1 by 2. This is normal. So if entry is equal to 3, 1 by 3. This is also normal. So for this, it will raise an error. For this, it will be an exception. Here also exception. Here also exception. This is valid. this is valid, correct? It's correct now. So now what I'm trying to do, this I have written, I'm trying to do, and this will write in an exception. So, okay, now then if it raise an exception, I should be handling here. Then I should be writing a except thing, because to handle here, I should be accepting. Now, I would have written something like this actually, some error has occurred. But instead of that, I wanted to know what is that error. So see, error for this is different, correct? So if I do 1 by 0, that is 0 division error. But if I do 1 by a, that is different one. And if I'm trying to access list out of the index, so 6 or something, so that is a different error. So this error is index error. This error is actually different. This error is also different. So I wanted to check what kind of exception it is raising. I wanted to print that. So how I should be printing? So this is a print. This is statement actually. Oops, means like, oops, I got an error. So what I'm trying to do, I'm using that library. This is the library, and except exe underscore info is the function. It will give the information of that error, and I am accessing that into 0. It's like this information I am trying to accept. If you don't understand, you can search actually. How should you know that? Like, what are the things are there? If I have to know more about this function, I should be doing sys. So then I will get a list of the functions. So in that, what I'm looking for, exec info. So where is exec info is here. And if you wanted to get the information about this, so you say question mark here, it will give what you are trying to do. So returns the information about the most recent exception got by an except. So that is what I'm trying to do. And what that information will be, what is that recent except information, that information to give. So how should I access? I should be accessing, calling this function and accessing the first element of that actually information. So that information I'm accessing, and this occurred. So what I'm trying to say, oops, then I'm trying to say which error, and then I'm trying to say this occurred. Some outside noise was there, that's the reason I am muted. So is it understood what I'm trying to do? This is a string, and this is also string, and this is the information which error has occurred. So I'm trying to print. So I'm trying to print, and next entry means like I wanted to get next value. So next entry. So I'm just printing something and continue. So continue is actually because after this is done, so you should be continuing for the slope. Next, continue. So continue. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm using the continue to do this activity. Means like first it will execute. What it will execute? 1 by a, and then 1 by 0, 1 by 2, 1 by 3. And if there is any exception, it will print that. So if I run it actually, so 1 by a is actually value error. Means like what value we are trying to get actually is wrong. So a should not be 1 divided by a is not possible, because here the second value should be integer or float. It cannot be string. So that is the reason it is a value error. So I handled it actually. And the second next is actually 1 by 0 is a 0 division error. So this is error has occurred. So it's like you should not divide any number by 0. And if you see about the next one, 1 by 2, so proper thing. So I got 1 by 2 is actually 0.5. 1 by 3 is 0.33. So it's like, so here I'm able to continue. If I'm not putting this actually in first go itself, I would have crashed. So let us try to do this one without having any of things. So let us do same thing I have done. Now, correct now. My whole code is executed here. Whole code is executed. I'm trying to do without something like a try and catch. Everything is same, correct? So everything is same. I just removed. So this is there. Only this one is there, and this one is there, because rest is not necessary, correct? So this is what my code is there. So print entry is there, and then this r is equal to this is there, and reciprocal is there, because I'm just removed this except thing actually. This information is about except, and this information I have removed. Rest all is same, correct? This code and this code is same, correct? Except those things. Yes or no?
Yes.
So now if I do run this actually, in first go only, I'm able to error. So I'm able to do something. So this is whole system is got crashed. I'm not able to execute further. But here I have completed the entire thing, correct? So if exception I handled properly, then if it is valid, I executed, valid, it is executed. So this is called, this is how I should be handling exceptions in the programs. Is it understood?
Yes, sir.
Impact of try and catch. A catch actually it is not catch, it is except. Try and catch is in other programming language. Here it is except. So in other programming language, try catch, try except, but in Python it is try and except. In Java it may be try catch, and some other C++. Every programming language there will be exception handling. It is not that like only in Python it is there, but the approach may be different. So here try and except. Any question? Okay. Let us do some more examples. So what is the some more examples I'm trying to do? So now I'm trying to index. So here I'm trying to see here I'm not done any about index, correct? I did with something. So now I try to do with the index. So how many elements are there? 3 elements are there. This is index 0. This is the index 1. This is index 2. If I'm trying to access index 3, if I'm trying to access, sorry, here 0, 1, 2. So if I'm trying to access index 3, obviously it will give error, correct? This is valid, correct? This is not valid. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So now if it is not valid, then I will be handling the except. So much like I will be getting error. So if you see here actually, first one says second element is 2, correct? But the third things, no. So what you are trying to do, it has raised an exception. What is that exception? Oops, I got exception. What is that actually? Index error has occurred. It's like you are trying to access the index which is beyond the list index, possible index. Fine. And if you want to see that like after that also I'm able to print, so you can print. So you can say that like here I am outside. I am outside the try catch. Try and except actually. So fine. So you should be able to print that I am outside of this one. See, if you are not able to handle, you won't be going further. So here I'm going further and I'm able to execute. So this is a called exceptional handling in Python. Any question here? Any questions? Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay, one more example we'll do. So now here now, I don't want to use something like a sys thing. Is there any other method is there? There is one more method is there using called a class. So we'll discuss that class in later on. But here assume that like class is a container which will have multiple functions. So something that like you say class is a container. In that we'll have multiple functions and multiple variables. So function 1, function 2, function 3, 1, 2, 3. This is something like container with all multiple functions, multiple variables. So it is something like that. Assume that class. So what I'm trying to do, how should I handle using not the using sys library, but using a class information. So I'm using here class thing. So how should I do the same code? Same code here. I'm not using import sys, but here I'm not using these things. So sys exo correct now. So 6 execute info thing I'm not calling that. What I'm trying to do is actually I'm trying to, this is a class, correct? Exception exception as means that this is alias name for exception. So that dot underscore class underscore. So this is what I'm trying to see. So this also will give an error. What error has occurred? So same thing. What error has occurred? So class error. So here class error, class 0 division error. So if you see here actually, what we used to get class. So that is the reason But here I used something called sys library and this one. But here I used just class underscore underscore class underscore class. So this is, I got the exact same result. It's like there are two ways you can write the, you can get the information about the error exception happened. Understood? One way is actually using sys library, sys dot exe x underscore info function call with 0 thing. This is one way of getting that error, what error has occurred. Another is actually whatever the class, whatever the exception thing, dot underscore underscore class, sorry, underscore underscore. So class, correct, class underscore underscore class underscore 0. So underscore underscore. This is the second. Either this way I can get the which error happened. Either this way I can get the what error has happened. So is it fine? Is it understood? If I'm not able to get actually, then I should be saying some error has occurred. But I wanted to know what kind of error, because I need to know no, why it is getting failed. What is you don't know. If you don't know some error occurred, means like you don't know how to debug it. If you know that like what error is occurred, okay, divided by 0 has happened. Oh, then means like in the list there is a 0. I should be first checking whether the list has 0 or not. If you say that like index error is happened, like, oh, I'm going beyond the index of the list. So then I will be checking. You should be iterating till the length of the. So how should I be iterating? So any iteration something, I should be going till the length of the list minus 1, correct? List minus 1, because this is how I'll be. It means like I'll be restricting that. But if you know what is the error happening, then you can modify your code to so that like your code will perform better. Understood? So if you don't know that which error happened, then you don't know how to solve that. So that is the reason we should be able to know what error has happened. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So we need that actually. So this is about the thing. And now second thing is actually, can I handle everything? So here I'm not handling anything. Just I'm saying, oops, error occurred. For example, now I said actually I need to know about whether division by 0 or something. Now, if I know that error, then I can handle specific to that error instead of just saying that, okay, I got an error. So how should I do that actually? The next question is actually, if I get an error, if I know what is the error, then how should I handle specifically for that error? Right? So there is a some method is there how to do it actually. See, try, it is all same, so except, so you should be saying which error, and then you should be handling that error here, except which error you should be handling about that error, or this except is actually default one. Any of these things are not there. This is any other option, it will come here. So this is how we should be handling specific to specific exceptions. So let us see how the code has to be written. For example, for example, I'm trying to do something like this. So what I'm trying to do, same thing. So A, this is all same, correct? This code is same, correct? Same what I'm trying to do. So different exception. So what I'm trying to do, I written the same, imports is random list entry. So now everything is same. Now what I'm saying, instead of just saying oops error, so if it is a value error, what I'll be doing, okay, I got a value error here. Now I say please enter the right value, either integer value or a float value. So I means like I'm trying to inform user that, so don't just enter a random value. You should be entering either integer or floating, because number divided by either integer or floating only possible. You cannot enter a character there or string there. So if it is a value error, I should be printing that. Then I should be continuous like it will come to the for loop that we already discussed. How to use continue, break, and pass, correct? That we discussed in the class. How to use continue, pass, and break. So here, after handling this, you continue. Means like next value. So go to the next value. The next is actually if it is divisible 0. So divisible 0, 0 division error. So then okay, you should be entering value greater than 0, greater than 0 or non-zero value. So you should not enter 0 here. I should be telling user that like, you should not be entering, or any other thing. So just okay, any other thing. Okay, I don't know what is other error because I cannot keep track of entire list of error. Correct? So many errors are there. I will say that okay, I'm if these basic thing error, I will be handling something like this. If these are not the basic things, okay, everything you just print what is that error actually. So I'm trying to use the same thing what I used to do earlier. So any error, just print what is that error. So this is how I'm trying to do. Let us see that like how this works actually. So since for first one, a value error comes, it will go to that like value error. Please enter the right value, integer value or the floating value. And for the second one, you will be getting divided by 0. So it will say that actually for second one, please enter the right value that is greater than 0 or non-zero value. And for second, third one, so proper value. This is how I'm trying to handle the each exception differently. Is it understood? Is it understood?
Yes, sir. Understood.
So, okay. So this is, what is this one actually? This value is exactly same what we are getting here. So you will be getting this error now. So this exactly within this codes. What you are getting within this code now, that is what I'm trying to handle. If you don't know, first you print here and this exactly the same. So exactly same you should be using. If you use something different value or some typo kind of things, no. So if you something it won't able to understand. This should be exactly same. Right? So the value error. This is user defined exception. So this is other exceptions actually. If it is either you can write exceptions as is, or if you are not writing also fine. So it will just colon. See something like this actually. I'm not writing anything here. See if you see here actually, in this case, I'm not writing anything here. So this is also valid thing, or you should be writing something like this exception. And so this is Elias number, means like something that like you are trying to say no, your name is Ram, but your family called a Sweetie. So this is alias name for you. Ram, Sam, something, some big name, but this is a sweet name. So alias is something like that. Like instead of saying exception something, that is very big thing. So we usually use one letter or two letter, but because what happens actually if you do alias, no, typing is very easy. So here else like if you are not using, then I should do typing the whole exception here. So E means like very short, correct? So I am using as something, something as something. So as is alias means like another name for that variable. So I can create. So for example, your name is Ram and so middle name something, surname something. Instead of all those things, I will call actually Sweetie. So that is very simple, correct? So this alias, like so next time, Sweetie means like this person. So like that only. Next time, E means this exception. So I can either use like this, either without that also is fine. So but here why I need that is because I need to access that class, correct? So I need to access that class means like I need that class information. So I need this one. So either exception, either E. So that is the reason I have used it. It's fine. Rest is print statement. Rest is just print statement. So you should be remembering this value should be proper. This value should be proper, and this is another way. So and except. So see here is the color code. If I write something differently, like if I say some mistake, so see color code is gone. It's like this is keyword is not able to understand. Python is not understanding this keyword. So you should be so much like proper than the keyword is understood. And this so this is one. So except space has to be there. So this space has to be there. If you don't give space, then again error. So this is a syntax error. These are all syntax error. If you give this is syntax error. So and the colon may be here or colon may be here. No, there is no issue. The gap between also there is no issue. So you should 3. So try also that is like if you say try and 1. So this is different one. So you should not try colon. And this many any statement you can have and except. So either value error or directly here. or error with as something. So this is the syntax of writing try and except in Python programming. Any question? Anybody has not understood these things? Fine. What all things we discussed? We discussed about what is the exception, what is syntax error, and how to handle the exception, and how to handle the specific exceptions. Any questions here? Okay. Any questions here? Okay. Let us see another example. So where exactly we will be doing? So let us see divide. So I'm trying to write a function divide. So how should I write a function? Def is the keyword, then divide is the name of the function, and it will take divide means like I have to divide two numbers, correct? So then one is x, I should be taking two values, so x and y. So in bracket x and y and the colon. So this is the thing. Now I don't want to write normal normal function. I should be writing the try and except, because it may generate an exception if divide by 0 or divide by number something, no, so it may give error. So that is the reason I'm writing that code into try. So what is that actually? X divided by, so this is a floor division. Floor division means like you understood, correct? What is a floor division? What is a normal division? Anybody remember floor division? This we discussed in the long back. So assume this is A is equal to 4, B is equal to 2. What is A by B and what is A 4 by B? Assume that like B is 3. Assume that this one. So what is this value? What is this value? Anyone?
A by B means 1.3.
1 point
And so on.
333. Okay.
That is 1, sir.
1. Okay. This is called floor division. Fine. Very good. So now this is what I'm trying to do. So now I'm trying to do that one. And what I'm trying to print here, I'm printing the result. So I'm trying to store into result. I'm trying to print the result. Assume that if it's trying to get an exception, then I have except here. And what kind of exception possible? Division error, correct? Divide by 0 is possible. So one exception. And if you don't know that, like other exception also I have to handle, then you should be doing something like this also. So okay, I got something else also, because I'm only handling exception 0, but other exception, let us go to the other area. So let it print other thing, whatever the other thing is there, because here only I'm handling divide by 0. This also you can write. So now this is how I have written the function. Now what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to call that one. First I'm trying to call divide with 3 by 2, that is fine, but 3 by 0 will wrong. So first thing it will give result, second thing it will say that like there is an exception. So sorry, you have divided by 0, error has occurred. First one 1, 3 by 1, 3 by 2 is actually 1, floor division is 1, correct? 3 by 2. So if A is 3, B is 2, so the floor division of that is actually 1. Fine. So any question here? See, this is how you should be writing. Professional people will be writing function like this, because it is a full fruit kind of function. It don't crash. You have taken care of everything. So if you write program like that, you are a professional person. If you write something like, okay, if I say divide by something, this is first basic stuff is actually how should you be doing the division function. So let us do first basic first thing, how we'll be writing division by thing. So you'll be just writing something like this. So we'll be writing something like this actually. This is a normal way of writing. So, and you will be returning the result. Return a result. So this is the normal way of writing the basic function. So this is much like here something exception. This is everything is dependent on the user value. If you are expecting that like user will give proper value, everything will be proper and your program runs proper. This is simple basic program. But if you want, see, this is actually like, it will work first case, but like in the other kind of, some user is like a cranky kind of user and gives a wrong values, then it will get failed, correct? User always doesn't give proper value, correct? If I ask actually enter your number, sometimes you number digit you will enter, sometimes you character will enter, sometimes something else you will enter, correct? When you are trying, if I give you a mobile app and ask you to enter your number, every time you won't be entering right value, correct? Do you enter every time right value? Hello? Are you guys there?
Yes, sir.
So you usually user doesn't know some random number there. So that is how you should be, like, you should not be writing program like this, because like this now, so if user enter right value, fine, everything will work fine. But if you user enter wrong values, then you will get something. So this is a professional way of writing. It's like, even though if user enter wrong thing, it will be printing, please enter right value, integer value, or something else. So sorry, you are dividing by 0. Means like you should enter the 0, another value. You should not enter 0. So it will give informations. No. You have to enter only the numbers in the mobile number, and numbers should be only 10 digits, not more than that. Okay, please re-enter the number. So that is how possible, because of this way of writing, professional way of writing the code. So you get, no, if you write wrong values, so no, please enter the right values. Don't give the zeros. So that is how the check, somebody is checking and saying that. And if you give something that like it is right. So this is how you should be writing professional codes, softwares. Is it clear? Where exactly we'll be using try excepts? So what is the useful of that? Understood? Usually they will be asking, so why we need exception handling, and how we will be doing exception handling. These are the two basic important questions on the exception handling. And you need to explain what all the other ways, or multiple different. If I need information, first they will ask the basic questions. What is exception handling? Then why we need exception handling? Then how should we do exception handling? How should we get the information, which exception happened? How should we handle that? So this is how the questions will come. So if you answer first two questions, then that's the next third, fourth questions will be coming. Is it fine? Is it clear? Any questions here? Are you able to follow? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, next thing. So next thing is actually, okay, now we understood the basic things. Basic thing, one error is fine. All those things is fine. We able to understood the display. But what if two kind of errors are there? So one time, so how should I handle? So if type error is there, and this also we discussed actually. This is all about exceptional handling thing. Let us go a little bit further. Can only user value when executing, or can I also raise an exception? You wanted to raise an exception. I can also do a raise an exception programmatically. Yes, that is also possible. So Python provides something like a raise keyword, and you will be giving what kind of exception or interrupt you are trying to raise. It's like which you wanted to create. So something that like what I'm trying to raise keyboard interrupt. This is also well-known keywords. Well-known keywords are there. So you should not randomly say something. So keyword thing. So what I'm trying to say keyboard interrupt. So this is what is saying keyboard interrupt. I'm raising it actually. I'm myself. It's like I'm interrupting using keyboard actually. So what is other one? So memory error. So there is another thing is actually memory error. So this is another exception I can raise. So why when we can ask, when you feel that like memory is in my program is very less, then okay, no, memory is more than enough. So I will be, so memory is very, very less. You'll get no memory is very less, an error, something, some error mark, something like this is how user said they have written a program. If the number of memory available in the computer is lesser than this, then they'll say raise an error. Say, oh, memory error, your system doesn't have more memory. So they will be raising. We will be checking how much memory is available, and if it's lesser than something, oh, I will raise an error. So this is other, I am raising it actually. Fine. Program error is raising it actually. Is it clear? Raise is the keyword, and which type of error you should be raising it, and this should be proper thing. Correct? Fine. Any question here? Okay. So next, how should I use this one? So I understood this one, but where should I use and how should I use? So same thing. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to write a program. So try what I'm trying to read an input from the user. So input, I'm reading, enter the positive number. I'm asking user to enter a positive number, and that number I'm trying to convert into a integer. Now I'm checking here is lesser than that. So value error means like I asked you to give a positive error, but still you have given a negative number. So value error I'm trying to say. This is not a positive number. I am raising this. And how should I handle? Because if I'm not able to handle, so it will crash in the system. Correct? If I raise this thing and if I'm not handling this exception, either me raise the exception or programmatically, dynamically, runtime I raise the exception. Whenever it exception happens, you should be handling it actually. So how should I handle? Same. Except, so then value VE. So I'm trying to print and I'm also printing what is that error. So this is what I'm trying to use that, raising my own thing. And if I give the proper thing, so positive, so it won't give anything. And if I give negative, it will raise. So if I give negative, it will raise exception. So we cast in the catch block. So this is not a positive number. Fine. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, so this is how I should be raising. So value error, name error. So this is another of error. So you can print. And next thing is actually there is also except and else also possible. So so far we discussed only except, correct? So we try and accept. So that is what we discussed, correct? So there is also one more, is something that like now for loop, and for also has else, while also we discussed and also has else. So here also we have try, except and else. So if you don't know what is the for and else, you refresh the post, because see why I'm giving again and again these hints, no? So I'm thinking that like you are referring that, because if you are not referring the old classes and all those things, you will not able to follow it. Everything is built on that. So just like the for and else, while and else, here also try, except and else is there. Correct? So it is also, this else is something similar to the way you have understood here. So after handling, and what happens actually in the first case, when in this case actually, I give the positive number. What happened? So I don't know what happened actually. So sometimes actually like, I need to know that like, okay, everything is fine. That is the reason I'm not raised the exception, correct? So that is what I needed actually. So that is the reason else. So if it is not going here, then it will go in the proper thing. Oh, everything is fine. That is the reason exception, because don't think that like I'm not executed. I have executed it, but everything is fine. So that is the reason I have not accepted, raised an exception. So that is the reason we have else portion. So here I'll be saying, so if I'm giving, see, I'm expecting it should be greater than 100. So if it is greater than 100, everything will be within the allowed range. So, or if it is lesser than, if it is greater than 100, I'm giving error. If it is lesser than 100 thing, so it is not allowed range. So here I'm raising the exception outside. But if it is within 100, so I will say that like 90, you say that like everything is within the range. In this case, if you want to say, where was that actually? Here, where was that actually? Positive number. If you say here else actually, so now if I enter that, okay, print, thank you for entering positive value. Thank you for entering positive value. So, okay. Now, what happens if I enter positive value? So it will say that like, thank you for entering positive value. Earlier, without this, actually, I was not able to see that, okay, it is executing or not executing, correct? So that is the reason else portion is there. It's fine. Any questions? Understood how to use else? Try except else. Any question here? Are you following? Okay. Understood, no? This else. See, one thing, no, my curriculum is actually basic things and we keep adding. It's like a little bit like advanced things. That won't be available maybe in the normal kind of course, but like we'll be going. So we understood basic try catch. We understood handling specific errors. Then we went into else also. Fine. So try, except and else. Fine. Then we also understood how to raise an exception. Now, next thing is actually how to do assert. So every time, why should I raise an exception? And then see, if something is gone wrong, for example, you are expecting positive number, but user has entered negative number, I will raise an exception and handle the exception. Means like I will handle that exception. This is one way, or else I will say that actually I will say, no, I will alert him, or I will say that like, no, you are doing wrong. So there is another way is called something called a assert error. It's like your assert error is another way of raising exception. Is it clear? So how should I use? For example, if you are written a program which can execute only in the Linux operating system, and you what happens actually you are running in a Microsoft thing, Windows thing, then you should think actually no, you are not running in the right operating system, you are running. So I should be raising assert. Assert is the keyword. Assert and say this is the thing Linux. I am trying to check is Linux. So this is actually like sys.platform will give what is your platform. So for example, if I check my platform, what is the platform I'm running this? So if you see that like what is my platform I'm running, so this is sys.platform will give which platform you are running. So if you want to see actually, this will give which platform you are running. So you are running in Linux platform. All these Google Cloud and everything, most of the cloud, no, when you are trying to run, most of them will be on the Linux system only. Your laptop may be in Windows, but most of my laptop is Mac actually, but yours may be Windows, but most of the cloud will be Linux. So it's like I'm running in the Linux environment. My code is written for Linux environment, Linux thing, it will run properly. I will be checking that actually whether you are running in Linux, Windows or Mac. So if it is not a Linux, so this code runs only things. So if it is not a Linux, then I should be raising the assert. If it is a Linux, oh, everything is fine because I have written for that. So for that, I am writing an assert. So here everything is fine. Instead of that, if I say this is I have written for not Linux, so not in. So I will be using not in. Means like my code runs good in other than Linux. So if I'm running in the Linux, it will gain assert. So you say that like assert error is raised. My code is written for not Linux. It is written for Mac or Windows, but you are running in the Linux. So that is the reason assert is common. Correct? So either you can use in or not in. Any question here? What is meant by assert? What is meant by assert? How to call an assert? See, assert in the bracket. This is a function, correct? So assert in the bracket. Raise is actually how we will be raising. If you see the syntax, raise, and this is a keyword. Specific keyword only I should be raising. Specific error only I will be raising. Here, I need a condition here. So I will be checking the condition, whatever it may be the condition. So here, what is the condition I'm checking? Is it platform is Linux or not? And then comma, and I'm trying to print that actually. If it is fails, this code, this information will be printed. If it fails, whatever the remaining thing will be printed. So fine. So this is in the comma. This is way or this is other way. So if it is greater than that, actually assert. If it is greater than 0, is a positive number. So this is, so now I'm trying to do. So if you want to say greater than 0, it's fine. This is code is in. So this is how we will be using the assert. Fine. So if it is greater than 0, it's fine. If it is not greater than 0, you want to say that like only positive number, you should be writing what error message you should be printing here. So it will check if it condition is true, it doesn't check any error. If a condition is false, then only assert will be there. So what you should be remembering, whenever I'm trying to write an assert actually, if condition is true, so then everything is fine. It doesn't raise assert. If condition is false, it will raise an assert. Exception is raised. Understood? And whatever after that comma is something now you are written, that will be printed. Any question here? Any question on the assert? Any question on the assert? Anybody not understood the assert? What is the assert? See, in raise and everywhere, I am not having any condition here. Here I have a condition. So you can have a condition. You can have for custom conditions. So either 0 by 0, whether it is greater than 0 or whether system is running in Linux, anything you can have a condition there. So I will give an example where I should be using this assert. So for example, if you are writing a program, so anybody knows what is the square root of minus value? Is this possible? Square root of minus 5 possible? Can you calculate square root of minus number? Square root of positive number is possible, correct? Can you calculate square root of minus number? This is imaginary. Fine. This is not possible. Try to calculate square root of a minus number. So what I should be writing, for example, if I have written a function, so I have written a function to calculate a square root of a number. So let us see. Here I have written a function to calculate a square root of a number. How should I write a function to calculate a square root of a number? So first is actually like I need to use a square root function. Either you can write a square root function your own, or you should use the square root function written by someone else. So where is that square root functions are there? They are there in the math functions. All the square root, square, everything, sine, cos, toss, everything is a mathematical functions, correct? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So I will be importing the maths, and now I should be writing the square root function. So def square root. So square root will take one value, correct? I have to give a number and I should be calculating square root of. So it will take one argument in the bracket. That argument something is defined as x. So how should I do? So now let us say that like I'm not using this actually. Straightway I will be doing maths dot square root of x. So what happens actually? It will work fine if it is a positive. Let me do that actually. So without using, where is that actually? Is anywhere I have written that? Okay. Let me write that first. So let me do that first, and I will try to do here. So let me write that. So now I'm not doing asserting this actually. I'm just doing this function, square root of that, importing maths. Why I'm importing? Because I'm using that function, correct? Maths dot something I'm using. So colon is there and return is there. So now I will be calling that function. So this also covered in the function classes. So if you not able to understand, you should refer the function class videos. Okay, fine. Now I'm trying to run. So what will happen? No error. So not minus is not possible. So if I give positive number, it doesn't give an error. So it will give a value. So it's like, so this is how it will work. So if you give positive, it will work and it will give a result. If you give negative, it will give an error. So how to handle that? So it's like whenever something is value you are entering wrong, then you will giving error, then you should be using try catch. So how should I do? Either you can use try catch, either you can use assert. So what is that assert actually? I am trying to check actually. In this case, what I'm trying to do. So square root, I'm trying to say is greater than 0. If it is true, then I'm not doing anything. If it is false, I'm trying to say that like only positive numbers are allowed. So same thing I'm trying to run. So same thing I'm trying to run here. So if you see here actually, this is where I'm trying to run. Let me do, okay, this is all assert, correct? So I'm trying to do. So square root of that. So let me run this actually. So y is 4, correct? So y is 4 is positive, is giving. If I give minus actually, so minus 2, y is equal to minus 2, what it will give, it say that like, so only positive numbers are allowed. So it is not getting crashed. So you can using assert, you can raise, you can handle the exception. Fine. So this is another way asserting that one actually, and using try and catch, I'm trying to handle it. So it is raising the exception, and here I'm handling that exception. Either you can raise exception using the assert, either you can raise exception using the raise. But in the raise thing, I should be using appropriate K. But in the assert thing, I can define my own conditions. What we are trying to say. So this is how I'm trying to write. This is where you should be writing the professional codes. Like if you think about like only 10 to 20% people are able to write here. So, because they are not going in that. Like, this is how you should be practicing. And if you're able to write this kind of codes, then you become, we consider you as a professional programmers, Python programmers. Any question here? Any question here? So this is the function writing code. So only thing addition is actually this assert line. This is only a thing. And this is the actually way of calling function. But what additional things we have done here? We have called that function using between try and except. So this is how I have modified. So if you don't know the thing, first you should write the normal code. So how should we write? So you should write first normal code. See, this is the normal code. Then, okay, what happens actually if it has to be written the assert, then you should be adding assert code here. So, okay, you will be checking that here. So then you will be saying that, okay, I should raise the assert. So now, okay, if assert is there, then I should be able to handle that exception. Okay, then I should be having try here, try between this actually. Then I should be having also except. So this is how step by step you should be writing. So this is how you should be trying to write the code. First you write the normal code and then see that like what happens if it is a negative value. So one by one, like step by step, you should be writing the beautiful code. So if you know these concepts, so write simple code, then add another condition. So this is how you should be trying to do. So for example, first you have written something, then you have added exception. So another thing is actually like, okay, why should I do that actually? I should be reading from the user. So you can also add. So instead of you entering this y2 or 3, you should also read from the user. So here what happens actually, I am asking user to enter. So if it is a positive, so thing. So if it is negative, then it will say that actually only positive numbers are allowed. So further, why only one number? I should be running for multiple kind of number. Then you should be entering into for loops. So everything is same. So for loop. So little bit like, so here multiple around 10 numbers I'm looking for. So one positive, one negative, one positive, one negative, something that like I can keep on doing that actually. So you can could not convert. So string I should not be entering because I'm not handling string. So I'm not. Here. Fine. So any question here? So this is how you should be writing. So write simple code, then keep adding, enhancing. So that is how you should be learning the writing the code. Fine. Any question? Any question?
No, sir.
Fine. So fine. Okay. So now let me go try and else we discuss, correct? So try and else we already discussed. Okay. So the one more, the last one concept is that finally. So let us do that actually. Then I will stop actually. because already done. I'm not going any in between breaks, so it's fine. So this is the last concept in exception handling. So what is that actually? Try and finally. So what else actually? Finally is actually like either you can use else and of things. Also you can use something like a finally. What is the finally? Means like after everything is done, finally going to the final kind of condition. So everything is executed, everything is done. So then I am trying to finally come out of the things. Then I will be calling something like a finally class. So what exactly means like, so finally like, so for example, you have done some kind of a one loop, lot of things you have done. This is handled, this is handled, this is handled, all things are done. So either it will go to the exception thing, either it will go to the else thing, but everything is executed. Finally, I am coming out of that whole thing. So then it will go to something called a finally. So that is the reason word is a finally. So I will be doing this, like then I will be coming out of that loop. So that is how the finally is there. So how should I use the finally? So for example, in this case, so I'm trying to do this one and handling it actually. After that finally, this was always executed. It's like this, after the end of the things, this will be always executed. So how many times, like whatever you do, finally will come at the end of things. So means like after finally everything is done, the finally block will come. So let us see executing this one. So what happens actually, like one it's taking some time. See, first it will happen. So if it is x and y, so if it is integer, so if it is division by error or it is else block, so value will be printed. And finally, if everything is done, then I will come to the final block and I'm trying to do something else. This is how the flow will be there. So if you want to see the flow, so first you will be executing the try, and if is exception is raised, it will go to the exception handling. And if it is okay, not exception, then it will go to the else block. Okay, then okay, next another thing, everything is executed. No, I'm everything in the try things, everything is executed. Then I will be coming to the finally, and okay, everything is done. So whatever I have to do and exit it. Actually, this will be always executed. This finally will be always executed, because so whether it is gone to exception or else, I am not bothered. Finally, when you come out of this try exception things, so finally this code will be executed once. Else will be executed only if it is condition, there is no exception raised, then it goes to else portion. Exception will be executed if it raises an exception. Just like in the try block, if it raises an exception, then only except will come, except will execute it. If it doesn't raise an exception, then it will go to the else portion. And if all things are executed, so finally is the executed. So this is how the execution flow. Fine, understood? Is it understood?
Yes, sir.
So this will complete the exception handling. So this will complete the exception handling. So any questions, let me know, because we have gone in depth about exception handling. So see, either it goes to else block, either it goes to see here it has gone to the else block and finally it comes. But if I give the wrong value, so let me do 3 division by 0. So it will go to the except block, but finally, so else portion has not gone, but finally is always it has gone. Either it will go exception is raised, exception block. If it is raised not exception, else block, but whatever it may be, but finally it will be always executed. In first case also finally executed, second case also finally is executed. So fine. Any question here? Okay. So I have completed the exception handling. Tomorrow I will be taking up the what is called a regular expression. That is also a little bit like a complex kind of a subject. So you should be focusing it actually. Like, so you should be focusing throughout the class. So it will take couple of sessions, because we will be going basics and we also going the advanced. So like that, like exception, basic and advanced. So flow will be there. Like, so basic it's sufficient for as per your curriculum, but we need to be little bit like extra than the curriculum. So we'll be going advanced also. Any questions? Anybody not understood? Try, catch, try, accept, error, syntax. What is the syntax error? What is meant by runtime? What is meant by exception? What is meant by rise? What is meant by assert? How to do? How to handle? When to use continue? When to use break? Past? All the things we discussed. Correct? So, any questions? If there is no question, then we'll end here. Okay, thank you. So see you tomorrow.